The morning sun had barely risen over Los Angeles when Maya Park opened the metal gates of her father's auto repair shop. The old building sat on a corner lot that had seen better days, but inside the shop was clean and organized. Tools hung in perfect rows on the walls. Classic cars in various stages of repair filled the garage bays. This was more than just a business to Maya. This was her father's dream, and now it was hers too. Maya wiped her hands on her work clothes and checked the appointment book. 3 oil changes, 1 brake job, and a consultation for a vintage car restoration. It was going to be a busy Tuesday. Her father, Jin Park, had left early that morning to pick up parts from a supplier 2 hours away. He would not be back until late afternoon. Maya was used to running the shop alone. She had been doing it since she was 16 years old. At 28, Maya knew cars better than most mechanics twice her age. She had graduated from MIT with a degree in mechanical engineering. Big companies had offered her jobs with huge salaries, but when her father had a heart attack 3 years ago, Maya came home. She chose family over money. She chose the smell of motor oil and the sound of engines over a corporate office. Her friends from college did not understand. But Maya did not need them to understand. The first customers of the day came and went smoothly. Maya changed oil, replaced brake pads, and explained repair costs with patience and clarity. She treated every customer with respect, whether they drove a beat-up sedan or an expensive sports car. Her father had taught her that lesson well. Every person deserves respect, he always said. Every car deserves proper care. Around 2 in the afternoon, Maya heard the deep rumble of a powerful engine outside. She looked up from the Honda Civic she was working on. A stunning black 1970 Dodge Charger pulled into the parking lot. The car was a masterpiece. Its paint gleamed in the sunlight. The chrome bumpers shone like mirrors. But as the car rolled closer, Maya noticed something. The engine sound was not quite right. There was a slight grinding noise, barely noticeable, but definitely there. The driver's door opened, and a man in an expensive suit stepped out. He was tall, probably in his mid-40s, with perfectly styled hair and shoes that cost more than most people's monthly rent. He did not look at Maya at first. He was too busy on his phone, typing rapidly with one hand while adjusting his designer watch with the other. Maya walked over, wiping her hands on a clean rag. "Good afternoon," she said with a professional smile. "Beautiful Charger you have there." The man glanced up from his phone for just a second. "Yeah, I need it fixed today." He went back to his phone. Maya remained patient. She was used to difficult customers. "What seems to be the problem?" "The transmission or something," the man said, still not really looking at her. "It is making noise." "I need it fixed by tomorrow evening. I have a charity gala, and I'm driving this car there. Very important people will be there." Maya walked around the Charger, listening carefully to the engine that was still running. The grinding sound was coming from the transmission area. This was not a simple fix. "Can you turn off the engine, please?" "I need to take a closer look." The man sighed loudly, as if she had asked him to do something incredibly difficult. He reached in and turned off the car. "How long will this take? I am a very busy person." "I understand," Maya said. She knelt down beside the car, looking underneath with a flashlight. After a few minutes of inspection, she stood up and pulled out a small notebook. "You have a transmission synchronizer issue. The gears are not engaging smoothly. This is common in vintage Chargers, especially if the transmission fluid has not been changed regularly or if the car has been driven hard." The man finally put his phone away and looked at Maya properly for the first time. His eyes scanned her work clothes, her tied-back hair, and the grease stains on her hands. His expression changed. It was not a good change. "And you know this how?" Maya kept her voice professional. "I have a mechanical engineering degree from MIT, and I have been restoring classic cars for 12 years. I have worked on dozens of Dodge Chargers. This is a 3-day job minimum, maybe 4 if we find additional issues once we open up the transmission." The man laughed. It was not a friendly laugh. It was the kind of laugh that made Maya's stomach tighten. 3 days? You must be joking. I told you I need this tomorrow." "I understand you have an event," Maya said calmly, "but rushing this repair would be dangerous. The transmission could fail completely while you are driving. At high speeds, that could cause an accident." "Where's the actual mechanic?" the man said, looking around the shop. "Where is your boss? I want to talk to someone who actually knows what they are doing." Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks, but she kept her voice steady. My father owns this shop, but I am the lead mechanic. I am telling you the professional assessment. This car needs 3 days minimum for a safe, proper repair. The man pulled out his phone again and started typing. What is your name? Maya Park. He typed some more, then looked at his screen. Do you even have real credentials? Or did Daddy just give you a job because you could not find work anywhere else? Other customers in the waiting area had stopped talking. They were watching now. The air in the shop felt heavy and uncomfortable. Maya took a deep breath. She had dealt with sexist customers before, but this man was particularly rude. Sir, I have given you my professional opinion. If you would like to get a second opinion from another shop, I completely understand. But any qualified mechanic will tell you the same thing. You cannot rush transmission work on a vintage vehicle. A grease monkey's daughter pretending to understand engineering, the man said loudly, making sure everyone could hear him. This is exactly what is wrong with small businesses these days. No standards, no real expertise, just people playing mechanic in their father's garage. Maya felt her hands clench into fists, but she forced herself to relax them. Getting angry would not help. Sir, I need to ask you to lower your voice. If you do not want our services, that is fine. But I will not tolerate disrespect in this shop. The man stepped closer to Maya, using his height to try to intimidate her. Do you know who I am? I am Marcus Whitmore. I own Whitmore Technologies. I am worth $3 billion. I do not take orders from some girl who changes oil for a living. Then take your car somewhere else, Maya said quietly but firmly. Marcus's face turned red. Oh, I will. And I will make sure everyone knows about this place. I will write reviews on every platform. I will tell everyone that this shop is run by an amateur who does not respect successful people. You have no idea what kind of damage I can do to a small business like this. Maya stood her ground. She was scared about the threats, but she would not show it. You are free to write whatever you want. But the truth is, your car needs proper care, not rushed work. I am sorry I cannot help you meet your deadline, but I will not compromise safety for convenience. Marcus pointed his finger at Maya's face. You just made a huge mistake. You could have had a wealthy client who would have sent all his friends here. But you are too stupid to recognize opportunity when it is standing right in front of you. He pulled out his wallet and threw a business card on the ground at Maya's feet. When your little shop goes out of business, do not say I did not warn you. He got back into his Charger, started the engine with an aggressive roar, and peeled out of the parking lot. The grinding sound in the transmission was even louder than before. Maya bent down and picked up the business card from the ground. Her hands were shaking slightly, but not from fear. She was angry. Angry at the disrespect. Angry at the assumption that money meant he could treat people badly. Angry that he had tried to humiliate her in front of customers. An older woman who had been waiting for her car walked over to Maya. That man was completely out of line, honey. You handled that with real class. Maya managed a small smile. Thank you. Some people just do not understand that good work takes time. Another customer, a young man in his 20s, was still sitting in the waiting area, looking at his phone. That was crazy, he muttered. What a jerk. Maya took a deep breath and went back to work on the Honda Civic. She tried to push the encounter out of her mind, but Marcus Whitmore's words kept echoing in her head. She wondered if he really would write bad reviews. She wondered if he really could hurt her father's business. The shop was already struggling. They could not afford to lose customers. When her father came back that evening, Maya told him what had happened. Jin Park listened carefully, his weathered face showing concern but also pride. You did the right thing, he said in his accented English. Never compromise your integrity for money. Never rush work that needs time. That man, he will learn someday. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But life teaches everyone eventually. Maya hugged her father. I hope you are right, Dad. I really hope you are right. Neither of them knew that in the waiting area that afternoon, the young man with the phone had recorded the entire confrontation. Neither of them knew that he had just uploaded the video to social media, with a caption that would change everything. Neither of them knew that by tomorrow morning, millions of people would see what had happened in their small auto repair shop in Los Angeles. The night was quiet as Maya locked up the shop. She looked at the cars waiting for repair, at the tools her father had collected over 30 years, at the sign above the door that read, Park Auto Repair, honest work, fair prices. This was more than a business. This was a legacy, and she would protect it, no matter what Marcus Whitmore tried to do. Maya woke up the next morning to the sound of her phone buzzing continuously. She reached over to her nightstand, still half asleep, and grabbed the phone. 23 missed calls, 47 text messages, hundreds of social media notifications. Her heart started racing. Something was wrong. She opened her messages. They were from old college friends, former classmates, people she had not talked to in years. "Maya, you are all over the internet," one message said. "You are famous," said another. "That billionaire guy is getting destroyed online," said a third. Maya sat up in bed, completely confused. What were they talking about? She opened her social media apps and froze. Her face was everywhere. Videos, screenshots, comments, shares. Millions and millions of views. The video was titled "Billionaire Disrespects Woman Mechanic Who Actually Knows Her Stuff." Maya pressed play with shaking hands. There she was, standing in her father's shop, explaining the transmission problem to Marcus Whitmore. The video showed everything. Marcus laughing at her. Marcus questioning her credentials. Marcus throwing his business card on the ground. The video even caught the moment when Maya picked up the card with dignity. Her face calm despite the obvious humiliation. The caption under the video read, "This woman has a degree from MIT and turned down corporate jobs to help her immigrant father's business. But this billionaire thinks money means he can disrespect skilled workers. This needs to be seen." Maya scrolled through the comments. There were thousands of them and more appearing every second. This woman is a hero for standing her ground. That billionaire is everything wrong with rich people. I looked her up. Maya Park is actually famous in the classic car restoration community. She knows more about cars than most men in the industry. The way he threw that card on the ground made me so angry. She did not deserve that. Somebody find out what company he owns so we can boycott it. Maya's hands trembled as she continued scrolling. People had started investigating Marcus Whitmore. They found his company, Whitmore Technologies. They found articles about his net worth, his properties, his lifestyle. News websites were picking up the story. Tech billionaire caught on camera belittling female mechanic. Viral video exposes wealthy entrepreneur's attitude toward working class. Maya got out of bed and walked to the kitchen where her father was making breakfast. Jin Park looked up and smiled, but his smile faded when he saw his daughter's expression. "What is wrong?" "Dad, we are on the internet. Millions of people have seen what happened yesterday with that billionaire." Jin put down his coffee cup. "Show me." Maya showed him the video on her phone. They watched it together in silence. When it finished, Jin was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something Maya did not expect. "This is good. Good. Dad, this is scary. What if Marcus Whitmore comes after us? What if he sues us?" Jin shook his head. "We did nothing wrong. You were professional. You were honest. You were respectful even when he was not. The truth is on our side." He patted Maya's hand. "People see the truth. That is why they are angry at him, not at us." Maya was not so sure. She had seen how the internet worked. Things could turn quickly. Public opinion could shift. But as she got ready for work and checked her phone again, she realized something strange was happening. People were not just watching the video. They were digging into her background. Someone had found her MIT graduation photo. Someone else had found an article from a car magazine where she had been featured for restoring a rare 1967 Shelby Mustang. Another person found a forum where classic car collectors praised her work and called her one of the best restoration specialists on the West Coast. By the time Maya arrived at the shop, there were reporters outside. Actual reporters with cameras and microphones. She parked her truck in the back and tried to enter through the side door, but they spotted her. Ms. Park, can you tell us about the incident yesterday? How does it feel to be standing up for women in male-dominated industries? Has Marcus Whitmore contacted you since the video went viral?" Maya pushed through politely but firmly. "I am sorry, I cannot talk right now. I have work to do." She got inside and locked the door behind her. The phone at the shop was ringing nonstop. Maya answered it cautiously. "Park Auto Repair. Hi, is this Maya Park? I saw the video. I just want to say you are amazing. Do you accept new customers? I have a 1969 Camaro that needs restoration work." Maya blinked in surprise. Yes. We accept new customers. Let me take your information." The calls kept coming. Some were from reporters, but many were from potential customers. People from all over California, some from other states, all wanting to bring their cars to Maya Park, the mechanic who stood up to a billionaire. By lunchtime, Maya had received 47 new customer inquiries. The small waiting area was full of people who had driven from far away just to meet her and schedule work. Her father was overwhelmed but happy, taking down names and appointment times. Meanwhile, across the city, Marcus Whitmore was having a very different kind of day. He had woken up to angry emails from his board of directors. His company's stock had dropped 2% overnight. Not a huge drop, but enough to cost millions in value. His phone was flooded with messages from his PR team, all marked urgent. Marcus finally opened the video that everyone was talking about. He watched himself on screen, watched his own behavior, heard his own words. For a moment, just a brief moment, he felt uncomfortable, but then his ego took over. This was not his fault. That mechanic girl should have just done what he asked. The internet was overreacting. People were too sensitive these days. His PR director, a sharp woman named Sarah Chen, came into his office without knocking. Her face was serious. "Marcus, we have a major problem. Every news outlet is running this story. Twitter is trending with hashtags against you. Your Wikipedia page has been edited 20 times in the last hour with unflattering information. We are in full crisis mode." Marcus leaned back in his expensive leather chair. "So what do we do? Sue the person who posted the video?" Sarah looked at him like he had suggested jumping off a bridge. "Absolutely not. That would make everything 1,000 times worse. We need you to apologize publicly. Today. Apologize. For what? For expecting good service? Marcus, you threw a business card at a woman's feet. You called her a grease monkey's daughter. You mocked her MIT degree. You threatened her family business. All of that is on video. The internet has decided you are the villain in this story, and honestly, they are not wrong." Marcus felt anger rising in his chest. He was not used to being told he was wrong. He was a billionaire. He had built a tech company from nothing. He employed thousands of people. He donated to charities. How dare people judge him based on one bad moment? But as the day went on, the situation got worse. Business partners started calling, expressing concern. His biggest client sent an email requesting a meeting to discuss recent events. His mother called and left a voicemail saying she was disappointed in him. By evening, the story had grown even bigger. But not because of anything Marcus did. It grew because of who noticed the video. Vin Diesel, the famous actor, posted on his social media. He shared the video with a simple message: "Mad respect to Maya Park for standing her ground. As a car guy, I know how much skill and knowledge goes into restoration work. This woman is the real deal. Expertise deserves respect, not mockery." Vin Diesel had 50 million followers. Within an hour, the video had been viewed 30 million more times. Maya's name was now known across the country. Across the world, even. Maya was closing up the shop when she saw Vin Diesel's post. She had to sit down. Her legs felt weak. Vin Diesel. The Vin Diesel. He knew who she was. He had defended her publicly. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost did not answer, but something told her to pick up. "Hello, is this Maya Park?" The voice was professional female. "Yes, this is Maya. My name is Jennifer Rodriguez. I work with Vin Diesel. He would like to speak with you personally if you have a moment. Would you be willing to take his call?" Maya thought this was a joke, a prank. But she said, okay, sure. There was a brief pause, then a different voice came on the line. A voice Maya recognized from dozens of movies. Deep, warm, genuine. "Maya, this is Vin. I hope I'm not bothering you. I just wanted to reach out personally." Maya could not form words for a second. This is really you?" Vin laughed. "Yeah, it is really me. Listen, I saw what happened to you. That was completely unfair. But the way you handled yourself, that was class. That was strength. That is what I respect." "Thank you," Maya managed to say. "I am a huge fan of your work, especially the Fast and Furious movies. The cars in those films are incredible." "I am a real car guy, you know," Vin said. "Not just in the movies. I love classic cars. I restore them myself when I have time. And I have been asking around about you. People in the car community say you are one of the best. They say you have magic hands when it comes to engines." Maya felt tears forming in her eyes. After all the stress of the day, this kindness from a stranger, from someone famous who did not have to care, was overwhelming. "Actually," Vin continued, "I have a 1969 Dodge Charger that I have been restoring for a special project. I have been looking for the right person to help me finish it. Would you be interested? I would pay your regular rates, of course, and I would love to visit your shop, meet your father, see your work. Maya could not believe what she was hearing. You want me to work on your car? Only if you have time. I know you are probably getting flooded with requests right now. But yeah, I would be honored to have you work on my Charger. Plus, I have an idea. I am organizing a charity car show in a few weeks. It is to raise money for vocational education programs. I would love for you and your father to participate. Bring some of your restoration projects. Show people what real craftsmanship looks like. Maya was crying now, but they were happy tears. Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much. They talked for a few more minutes, discussing details and schedules. When Maya hung up, she sat in the quiet shop, surrounded by cars and tools and the smell of motor oil that she loved. Her father came out from the back office and she told him everything. Jin Park smiled, his eyes also wet with tears. You see? I told you. Truth always wins. Goodness always finds its way. But across the city, Marcus Whitmore was watching the news coverage of Vin Diesel's support for Maya. His PR team was in panic mode. His reputation was being destroyed in real time. For the first time in his adult life, Marcus's money could not fix his problem. For the first time in years, he was being forced to face consequences for his actions, and the internet was not done with him yet. 2 days after the phone call, Maya stood outside her father's shop at 7 in the morning, nervously checking her watch. Vin Diesel was coming today, the actual Vin Diesel. She had cleaned the shop 3 times, organized the tools 4 times, and barely slept the night before. A small crowd had already gathered outside. Word had spread on social media that Vin might visit, and fans were hoping to catch a glimpse of him. Maya's father had put up barriers to keep the sidewalk clear. Local police had even sent an officer to help manage the crowd. At exactly 8 o'clock, a black SUV pulled up. The crowd started screaming and taking photos. But when the door opened, Vin stepped out with a gentle smile and a request for calm. Hey everyone, I appreciate the love. But I am here to do business and I need you all to be respectful of this family's shop. Can you do that for me? The crowd quieted down immediately. That was the power of Vin's presence. He commanded respect without demanding it. Vin walked up to Maya and extended his hand. He was wearing jeans, a simple black t-shirt, and work boots. No fancy suit, no bodyguards. Just a man who loved cars. Maya, so good to finally meet you in person. Maya shook his hand, trying to keep her voice steady. Thank you for coming. And thank you for everything you said online. It meant the world to me and my father. Jin Park came out of the shop, wiping his hands on a cloth. Vin shook his hand warmly. Mr. Park, you have raised an incredible daughter. You should be very proud. Jin smiled, his English slow but clear. I am proud every day. She is better mechanic than me now. I believe it, Vin said. Can I see the shop? They walked inside and Vin's eyes lit up like a child in a toy store. 3 cars were in various stages of restoration. A 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback with its engine exposed, a 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle getting new paint, and a 1955 Chevy Bel Air that was almost complete. Vin walked slowly around each car, asking questions, examining the work. His questions were not simple. He knew cars deeply. He asked about gear ratios, suspension modifications, carburetor adjustments. Maya answered each question with confidence, and Vin nodded with appreciation. This work is art, Vin said, running his hand along the Mustang's frame. This is what I am talking about when I say we need to respect skilled trades. You cannot learn this in a week. This takes years of practice, knowledge, and passion. A news crew had been allowed inside to film part of the visit. Vin spoke directly to the camera. People see someone in work clothes with grease under their nails and they make assumptions. But look at this. Look at the precision. Look at the care. Maya Park is not just a mechanic. She is an engineer, an artist, and a businesswoman. This country was built by people like her and her father. We need to remember that. The interview went on for 20 minutes. Vin talked about the importance of vocational education, about how society had pushed everyone toward college degrees, while forgetting that skilled trades were just as valuable, sometimes more valuable. He talked about his own love of cars, about learning from mechanics and builders who had taught him respect for craftsmanship. After the cameras left, Vin got down to the real reason for his visit. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. He pulled out his phone and showed Maya dozens of photos of his 1969 Dodge Charger. It was beautiful but clearly unfinished. The bodywork was done, but the engine needed rebuilding. The interior needed restoration. The electrical system needed updating. Maya studied each photo carefully. This is gorgeous. You have done amazing work on the body. But the engine, you are right, it needs a complete rebuild. Original parts or modern performance? I want it to look original but perform better, Vin said. I want to drive this car, really drive it, not just keep it in a garage. Maya nodded. I can do that. We can rebuild the 440 engine with modern internal components. Better pistons, better camshaft. It will look stock but run like a dream. Maybe add fuel injection that is hidden inside the original carburetor housing. Vin's eyes widened. You can do that? Hide fuel injection in a carburetor housing? It is tricky, but yes. I have done it before. You get the reliability and efficiency of modern fuel injection with the classic look. How long would this take? Maya thought carefully. If I focus on your car specifically, maybe 6 weeks. But I am honestly backed up right now. After the video went viral, I have had over 100 new customers contact me. Vin laughed. That is a good problem to have. Listen, I am not in a rush. Take the time you need. Actually, this works perfect because I was thinking about the timing for the charity car show. It is in 2 months. If you could have my charger ready by then and bring some of your own projects, that would be incredible. A charity car show? Jin asked. Vin nodded enthusiastically. Yeah, I'm organizing it with some friends in the car community. All the money raised goes to vocational training programs. We need more young people learning real skills, learning trades. The show will have classic cars, custom builds, celebrity appearances. It is going to be big. And I want you and Maya to be featured participants. Maya and her father exchanged glances. This was beyond anything they had imagined. We would be honored, Maya said quietly. Great, Vin said. My assistant will send you all the details. Now when can I bring you the charger? They discussed logistics and scheduling. Vin would have the car transported to the shop next week. Maya would document the entire restoration process for his records. They agreed on a fair price, and Vin did not try to negotiate down at all. He respected the value of the work. Before leaving, Vin took several photos with Maya and Jin. He signed autographs for the crowd outside and took selfies with fans. But even in all the chaos, he was kind and patient with everyone. As the black SUV drove away, Maya stood with her father, both of them stunned by what had just happened. The small auto repair shop in Los Angeles had just become the most talked about garage in the country, but not everyone was happy about Maya's success. Marcus Whitmore sat in his office, watching news coverage of Vin Diesel's visit to Park Auto Repair. His jaw was clenched tight. His hands gripped the arms of his chair until his knuckles turned white. The past 2 days had been a nightmare for Marcus. His company's stock had dropped another 3%. 2 major clients had delayed contract renewals, citing concerns about company leadership. His own board of directors had called an emergency meeting to discuss his behavior and its impact on the company's reputation. But worse than all of that was the personal humiliation. People recognized him on the street now, not with admiration but with contempt. Someone had yelled, "Hey, it is the billionaire bully," at him in a restaurant. He had to stop going to his favorite coffee shop because the baristas gave him dirty looks. His PR director, Sarah Chen, had been pushing him to make a public apology. She had written a statement for him, coached him on how to deliver it, and scheduled a press conference. But Marcus kept delaying it. His ego would not let him do it. Why should he apologize? He was the victim here. His privacy had been violated. Someone had filmed him without permission. But Sarah was insistent. She came into his office now, holding a tablet with the latest news coverage. Marcus, you need to see this. Vin Diesel's visit to Park Auto Repair has been viewed 60 million times. 60 million. Every major news outlet is covering it. Maya Park is being called a hero. Meanwhile, your name is being associated with privilege, arrogance, and sexism. We need to do damage control now. Marcus took the tablet and watched the video. He saw Vin talking about respect and craftsmanship. He saw the beautiful cars in the shop. He saw Maya's confidence and expertise. And for a moment, a brief moment, Marcus felt something he had not felt in years. Shame. Set up the press conference, he finally said. Tomorrow morning. Sarah looked surprised but relieved. Good. I will have the statement finalized tonight. You just need to read it, look sincere, and answer a few questions. Keep your answers short and apologetic. That evening, Marcus sat in his expensive apartment overlooking downtown Los Angeles. The city lights sparkled below him. He had everything money could buy. A penthouse worth $12 million, cars worth millions more, a private jet, a yacht. But as he sat there alone, scrolling through social media comments about him, he realized something uncomfortable. People hated him. Not his money, him. The next morning, Marcus stood behind a podium facing 30 journalists and a dozen cameras. Sarah stood off to the side, nodding encouragingly. Marcus unfolded the prepared statement and began reading. I want to apologize publicly to Maya Park and her father for my behavior at their auto repair shop last week. My actions were disrespectful and unacceptable. I allowed my frustration about my car to cloud my judgment, and I treated Maya with contempt that she did not deserve. I am sorry. He paused, looked up at the cameras, then continued. I am also announcing that I am donating $500,000 to vocational education programs in Los Angeles to support the kind of skilled work that Maya and her father represent. The journalists started shouting questions. Immediately, Mr. Whitmore, do you accept that your behavior was sexist? Are you only apologizing because of the public backlash? Have you spoken directly to Maya Park? Marcus handled the questions mechanically, giving the rehearsed answers that Sarah had prepared. Yes, he recognized his behavior was wrong. Yes, he understood why people were upset. Yes, he was committed to learning from this experience. But something in his delivery felt hollow. The journalists could sense it. The viewers watching at home could sense it. This was not genuine remorse. This was damage control. Within an hour, the press conference video was online. The response was brutal. This apology feels like it was written by a PR team. He is only sorry he got caught. $500,000 is pocket change to a billionaire. This is just trying to buy forgiveness. Notice how he is announcing the donation through a press conference. If he really cared, he would have just donated quietly. Maya saw the press conference on the small TV in the shop. She watched Marcus deliver his apology and felt nothing. The words were empty. There was no real understanding in his eyes. He was reading from a script, playing a part, trying to fix his reputation. Her father stood beside her, watching silently. When it finished, he said, "That man, he is sorry for the wrong reason. He is sorry for himself, not for what he did." Maya nodded. Should I respond? People keep asking me if I accept his apology. Jin thought for a moment. You say what is true. Always say what is true. That afternoon, a journalist called the shop and asked Maya for her response to Marcus's apology. Maya thought carefully about her words. I appreciate that Mr. Whitmore made a public statement, she said, but an apology should not come with a press conference and a donation announcement. Real change happens quietly, through actions, not through performances designed to repair a public image. My father taught me that character is shown in how you treat people when nobody is watching, not in what you say when everyone is watching. The journalist asked if she would accept a private apology if Marcus offered one. Maya's answer was honest. I would need to see real understanding of why his behavior was wrong. Money cannot buy respect. Press conferences cannot buy forgiveness. If Mr. Whitmore truly wants to make amends, he should reflect on why he felt entitled to treat a working person with contempt, and then work on changing that attitude in himself. The interview was published an hour later. Maya's words were shared across social media platforms. People praised her grace and wisdom. They praised her refusal to accept a fake apology. They praised her understanding that real change requires more than money. And in his office, watching the interview on his computer, Marcus Whitmore felt something crack inside his carefully constructed world of privilege and power. For the first time in his adult life, he could not buy his way out of a problem. For the first time in years, he was being forced to actually look at himself and confront what he saw. 3 weeks had passed since the press conference. Marcus Whitmore's public apology had done nothing to repair his reputation. If anything, it had made things worse. People saw through the calculated performance. Social media was relentless. News outlets continued to reference him as an example of wealthy privilege and disconnection from ordinary people. His company's board had forced him to step back from public appearances. His stock portfolio had lost millions in value. Business partnerships were falling apart. His carefully built empire was showing cracks. But something else was happening to Marcus, something he did not expect. He was thinking. Really thinking. For the first time in years, he was alone with his thoughts without distractions, without yes men telling him what he wanted to hear, without the constant validation that money provided. He found himself watching videos about classic car restoration. He watched documentaries about skilled trades. He watched interviews with mechanics, welders, electricians, plumbers, people who worked with their hands, people he had dismissed his entire adult life as beneath him. One evening, Marcus found himself driving through Los Angeles, past the neighborhood where Park Auto Repair was located. He did not stop. He just drove by slowly, looking at the small shop with its bright lights and the cars visible through the open garage doors. He saw Maya working on an engine, her focus complete, her movements precise. He saw her father talking to a customer, both of them smiling. They looked happy. They looked fulfilled. They had something Marcus had lost somewhere along his journey to wealth. They had purpose that money could not buy. Marcus drove home to his empty penthouse and sat in the dark for a long time. The next day he did something he had not done in 15 years. He went to therapy, not because his PR team suggested it, not because it would look good publicly, but because he needed help understanding why he had become the person he had become. Dr. Patricia Morrison was a no-nonsense therapist who did not care about his bank account. In their first session, she asked him a simple question. When did you stop seeing people as people and start seeing them as either useful or useless to you? Marcus did not have an answer. Meanwhile, Maya's life had transformed completely. The shop was now booked solid for the next 6 months. She had hired 2 additional mechanics to help with the workload. Her father's dream of a successful business was finally coming true, and it was bigger than either of them had imagined. Vin Diesel's 1969 Charger sat in the main bay, and Maya was treating it like a masterpiece. She documented every step of the restoration, taking photos and videos. Vin visited twice more, always bringing his genuine enthusiasm and respect. He even helped with some of the work, getting his hands dirty alongside Maya. "This is therapy for me," Vin said one afternoon while they were installing a rebuilt carburetor. "I spend so much time in Hollywood in that artificial world. But here, working on a car, this is real. You can see the results of your work. You can touch it. You can hear it when the engine starts perfectly." Maya smiled. She understood exactly what he meant. "My father always says that working with your hands keeps you honest. You cannot fake it. The car either runs or it does not." Vin nodded. "Your father is a wise man." The charity car show was now just 3 weeks away. Vin had been promoting it heavily on social media. Dozens of car collectors and celebrities had committed to participating. The expected attendance had grown from a few hundred people to potentially several thousand. All ticket sales and donations would go directly to vocational training programs. Maya was planning to bring 3 cars. The 1967 Mustang Fastback that was now completely restored and running beautifully, a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner that she and her father had finished last year, and Vin's Charger, which would be completed just in time for the show. The local news was covering the story regularly. Maya had done several interviews, always humble, always giving credit to her father and the teachers who had trained her. She never let the fame go to her head. She was still the same person who had stood her ground against a billionaire 3 weeks ago. One evening, as Maya was closing the shop, a familiar black Dodge Charger pulled into the parking lot. Her stomach tightened. It was Marcus Whitmore's car, the same car that had started everything. The engine still made that grinding sound, maybe worse than before. Marcus got out of the car slowly. He looked different. Thinner, maybe. Tired. His expensive suit was gone, replaced with casual clothes. His perfectly styled hair was less perfect. His face showed something Maya had not seen before. Uncertainty. They stood facing each other across the parking lot. Neither spoke for a long moment. Finally, Marcus said, "I know I am probably the last person you want to see." Maya crossed her arms. "What do you want, Mr. Whitmore?" "I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not with cameras and press conferences. Just me to you. You already apologized. On TV. With $500,000 attached." Marcus winced. That was not an apology. That was me trying to fix my reputation. This is different. I have been thinking a lot these past weeks. I have been doing things I should have done years ago. Therapy, self-reflection, actually listening to people instead of just talking over them. Maya remained still, her expression unreadable. And And I realize I have been a terrible person for a very long time. Wealth changed me. Success changed me. I started believing my money made me better than other people. I forgot that my grandfather was a mechanic. My father was an electrician. I built my company on their work ethic, but somewhere along the way I started looking down on the very people who taught me everything. He paused, his voice catching slightly. What I did to you was wrong on so many levels. It was sexist. It was classist. It was cruel. You were trying to help me, trying to do your job professionally, and I treated you like you were nothing. I am so deeply sorry. Maya studied his face. She had dealt with enough people to know when someone was lying. Marcus looked broken, but he also looked sincere. Why are you here? She asked. Why now? Because my press conference apology has been eating at me. Because I have watched you handle all of this with more grace than I have shown in my entire adult life. Because I need you to know that I am actually sorry. Not for my reputation, but for hurting you. The shop was quiet except for the distant sound of traffic. Maya's father appeared in the doorway, watching silently but ready to intervene if needed. Your car still needs work, Maya said finally. Marcus looked surprised. What, your transmission? It still needs work. Probably worse now than 3 weeks ago. You are driving around with a serious mechanical problem. Yes, I took it to another shop. They made it worse. I did not want to bother you. Maya walked over to the car and listened to the engine. The grinding was definitely worse. She shook her head. Turn it off. You should not be driving this. Marcus turned off the engine. Maya looked at him for a long moment, then made a decision. I will look at it. Not today. I am booked solid. But I will make time, not because I forgive you, not because I believe you have truly changed, but because this car deserves proper care, and I do not want to see it destroyed by someone who does not know what they are doing. Marcus's eyes got wet. Thank you. I will pay whatever you ask. I will follow your timeline. No arguments, no complaints. 3 to 4 weeks minimum, Maya said firmly, and you will need to leave the car here. The transmission needs to come out completely. Maybe other work too. I will give you a full assessment once I can properly inspect it. I understand. When can I bring it? Maya pulled out her phone and checked her schedule. 2 weeks from today, 9 a.m., do not be late. I will be here. Marcus reached for his wallet, but Maya held up her hand. No deposit right now. I have not even given you an estimate yet. We do business properly here. Assessment first, estimate second, then deposit. Marcus put his wallet away. You are right. I am sorry. Old habits. He started to walk back to his car, then stopped and turned around. Maya, I know I do not deserve this, but would it be possible for me to watch you work? Not on my car, just in general. I want to understand what you do. I want to learn. Maya frowned. Why? Because I realized I do not actually know how anything works. I write code for software, but I do not understand the physical world. My grandfather tried to teach me about cars when I was young, but I was too impatient. I thought it was beneath me. I was wrong. Maya looked at her father, who had been listening to the entire conversation. She gave a small nod. You can come by sometime, Maya said slowly, but you stay out of the way. You do not touch anything unless I tell you to, and if you are disrespectful to anyone in my shop, to any customer or worker, you leave immediately. Understood? Understood. Thank you. Really thank you. Marcus got into his car carefully, started the grinding engine, and drove away slowly. Jin walked over to his daughter. That was brave. Giving him a second chance. I am not giving him a second chance, Maya said. I am giving his car proper care. There is a difference. I do not trust him yet. Maybe I never will. But you taught me that everyone deserves the opportunity to prove they can change. True. But watch him carefully. Some people, they apologize with words, but their actions stay the same. Maya nodded. She would definitely watch Marcus carefully. That night, Maya could not sleep. She kept thinking about the encounter. Part of her was angry that Marcus had shown up. Part of her was suspicious of his motives. But a small part of her recognized something genuine in his brokenness. She had seen people hit rock bottom before. Sometimes it changed them. Sometimes it did not. Across the city, Marcus sat in his apartment feeling lighter than he had in weeks. He knew Maya did not trust him. He knew one conversation did not fix what he had broken. But he had taken a step. A real step. Not a performance. Not a calculated move. A genuine attempt to make things right. He pulled out his phone and looked at the video of the original confrontation. He forced himself to watch it completely. He watched himself belittle Maya. He watched himself throw the business card on the ground. He saw the look in Maya's eyes, the hurt mixed with dignity. He was ashamed, deeply, truly ashamed, but shame alone was not enough. He needed to change his actions. He needed to prove through time and consistency that he was not the person in that video anymore. The journey would be long. Maya would be skeptical. The public would doubt him. But for the first time in years, Marcus was committed to something that did not involve money or business success. He was committed to becoming a better human being, and that, he realized, was much harder than becoming a billionaire. The morning of the charity car show arrived with perfect California weather. Clear blue sky, comfortable temperature, and just enough breeze to make the day pleasant. The event was being held at a large outdoor venue in downtown Los Angeles, with space for over 200 cars and room for thousands of visitors. Maya and her father had arrived early with their 3 vehicles. The 1967 Mustang Fastback gleamed in the morning sun, its candy apple red paint looking almost liquid. The 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner sat beside it, forest green with black racing stripes, and Vin Diesel's 1969 Dodge Charger, now completely restored, was the centerpiece of their display. Vin had arrived even earlier than Maya. He was wearing jeans and a Fast and Furious t-shirt, already greeting other car enthusiasts and helping with setup. When he saw Maya pulling in with the trailer, he jogged over with a huge smile. "Please tell me that is my Charger," he said, his excitement genuine and childlike. Maya climbed out of her truck, grinning. "Want to see?" They lowered the trailer ramp, and together they carefully rolled the Charger down. Vin walked around it slowly, his hand over his mouth, his eyes wide. The car was perfect. The black paint had a deep shine. The chrome gleamed. The interior looked brand new, but authentically vintage. The engine bay was spotless, every component either restored or carefully rebuilt. "Maya," Vin said quietly, "this is beyond what I imagined. This is art. Want to start it?" Maya asked, handing him the keys. Vin got in the driver's seat, turned the key, and the 440 engine roared to life. But it was not a rough, aggressive roar. It was smooth, powerful, controlled. The engine purred at idle like a satisfied tiger. Vin revetted a few times, listening to the sound, feeling the vibrations. His eyes were actually wet with tears. "This is my dream car," he said. "I have been working on it for 3 years, but I could not get it right." "You got it perfect in 6 weeks." 7 weeks, Maya corrected with a smile. "And you did most of the hard work. I just finished what you started." They positioned the Charger in the display area, and almost immediately, people started gathering. Car enthusiasts recognized the quality of the restoration. Photographers asked for permission to take pictures. Other participants came over to compliment the work. Jin stood beside his daughter, proud but humble. "Your mother would be so proud," he said quietly. Maya's mother had passed away 5 years ago, but her presence was always felt. As the morning progressed, the venue filled with people. There were classic muscle cars, custom hot rods, vintage European sports cars, and modern supercars. Celebrities walked among the displays. Musicians, actors, athletes, all there to support vocational education. But the biggest crowd was around Vin Diesel's display, and more specifically around Maya. People wanted to meet the mechanic who had stood up to a billionaire. They wanted to hear about her work. They wanted to take photos with her. Maya handled the attention gracefully, always redirecting credit to her father and her team. She talked about the importance of skilled trades, about how restoration work required patience, knowledge, and passion. She spoke simply and clearly, making complex mechanical concepts understandable to everyone. Around noon, the event organizers announced that over 4,000 people had attended, and they had already raised over $2 million for vocational training programs. The crowd cheered. Vin took the microphone on the main stage. "I want to thank everyone for coming today. This cause is personal to me because I grew up around people who worked with their hands. My stepfather was an electrician. My uncles were mechanics and construction workers. These people built America. They built our homes, our roads, our cars. But somewhere along the way, we started telling kids that the only path to success was a 4-year college degree. We forgot to honor the people who make things, who fix things, who create with their hands." The crowd applauded loudly. "Today, I want to recognize someone special," Vin continued. Maya Park and her father Jin Park are here with 3 incredible vehicles, including my 1969 Charger that Maya just finished restoring. But more importantly, they represent something this country needs to remember: hard work, integrity, excellence. When a billionaire tried to bully Maya for doing her job right, she did not back down. She stood her ground because she knew the value of her work. That is the spirit we need to celebrate. That is the spirit that makes a country strong. The crowd cheered again, and many people turned to look at Maya's display. She felt her face get hot with embarrassment, but also pride. Unknown to Maya, someone else was in the crowd. Marcus Whitmore stood at the back, wearing sunglasses and a plain baseball cap, trying not to be recognized. He had driven his grinding Charger to the event because he wanted to see what Maya had talked about. He wanted to understand what she did. Marcus had spent the last 2 weeks doing something he had never done before. He had been volunteering at a vocational training center in Los Angeles. No cameras, no press releases, just showing up 3 times a week to help teach a class about technology and business. He had also started meeting regularly with his therapist, working through years of unhealthy attitudes and behaviors. He had not told anyone about the volunteering, not his PR team, not his board of directors, not even his family. He was doing it because it felt right, not because it would look good. Now, watching Maya receive recognition at the car show, Marcus felt a complex mix of emotions: regret for how he had treated her, admiration for her skill and character, and something else, something harder to name. It was a desire to be part of something real, something meaningful, something beyond his bank account. After Vin's speech, Marcus slowly made his way through the crowd toward Maya's display. His heart was pounding. He was not sure how she would react to seeing him here. Maya was explaining the Charger's fuel injection system to a group of teenagers when she saw Marcus approaching. Her smile faded slightly, but she did not stop her explanation. She finished answering the teenagers' questions before turning to face Marcus. "Mr. Whitmore," she said neutrally, "I did not expect to see you here." "I bought a ticket," Marcus said quickly. "I wanted to support the cause, and I wanted to see the cars, see the work you talked about." Jin stepped forward, positioning himself between Marcus and his daughter. His face was stern. Marcus noticed and held up his hands. "I am not here to cause trouble. I just wanted to see what real craftsmanship looks like. And I wanted to tell you both that I have been volunteering at the Eastside Vocational Training Center, teaching a class about business and technology. I have been doing it for 2 weeks." Maya looked surprised. "You have been volunteering?" "Yes, I have not told anyone. I am not doing it for publicity. I am doing it because you were right. I need to change my actions, not just my words." Before Maya could respond, Vin Diesel walked over. He had seen Marcus in the crowd and had been watching the interaction. "Marcus Whitmore," Vin said, his tone neutral but firm. "Interesting to see you here." Marcus nodded respectfully. "Mr. Diesel, I am a huge fan of your work, and I wanted to apologize to you as well. You supported Maya publicly, and I know my behavior reflected badly on men, on wealthy people, on everyone. I am sorry." Vin studied Marcus for a long moment. "Apologies are good, but actions matter more. What have you been doing since that video went viral?" Marcus took a breath. "Therapy, volunteering, thinking about my life and my choices, trying to understand how I became someone who would treat another person the way I treated Maya." "And what have you learned?" Vin asked. "That money disconnected me from reality. That success made me arrogant. That I forgot where I came from and who made me possible. My grandfather was a mechanic. My father was an electrician. But I spent the last 20 years looking down on people like them. Like Maya, I am ashamed of that. The area around them had gone quiet. Other people were listening to the conversation. Some were recording on their phones. Marcus noticed but did not stop talking. If this became another viral video, so be it. He was telling the truth. "The work you did on this Charger," Marcus said, gesturing to Vin's car. "I could never do that. I do not have those skills. I do not have that knowledge. I spent years thinking my intelligence was superior because I created software and made money, but I cannot build anything real. I cannot fix anything. I cannot create beauty like this with my hands. Maya can, her father can. That is actual intelligence. That is actual value. And I did not see it." Maya crossed her arms, her expression still guarded. "So what do you want from me?" "Nothing," Marcus said simply. "I just wanted you to know that I am trying to change. I know you do not trust me. I know I do not deserve forgiveness, but I am working on becoming a better person, and you were the one who made me see that I needed to." Vin looked at Maya, then at Marcus, then at the crowd that had gathered. "Here is what I think," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I think real change is possible if someone genuinely wants it. But change requires time. It requires consistency. Anyone can apologize once. Anyone can volunteer for 2 weeks. The question is, will you still be doing this in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years?" Marcus nodded. "I understand. And you are right to be skeptical. All I can do is keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Keep trying to be better." "Good," Vin said. "Because vocational education needs support from people with resources. Not just money, time, energy, respect. If you are serious about this, then prove it with sustained action." "I will," Marcus said. Maya had been silent, watching and listening. Finally, she spoke. "Your car is scheduled for next week. 9 a.m. Are you still bringing it?" Marcus looked surprised that she was still willing to work on it. "Yes, absolutely, thank you." "This is business," Maya said firmly. "I am fixing your car because it needs fixing, not because we are friends. You have a long way to go before I trust you, but I believe in second chances if they are earned. Do not waste this one." "I won't," Marcus promised. The crowd around them started applauding. Some people were moved by the exchange. Others were skeptical, but everyone recognized that something important had just happened. Not a performance, not a PR stunt. A real, difficult, honest conversation about change and accountability. As the car show continued, Marcus spent the rest of the day walking around, looking at cars, talking to mechanics and builders, learning about their work. He did not try to talk to Maya again. He respected her boundaries. He was there to learn, not to push himself on people who did not want him around. By the end of the day, the charity car show had raised over $3 million. It was a massive success. Maya and her father were exhausted but happy. Vin's Charger had won the award for Best Restoration, and Vin had immediately announced that all credit went to Maya and her team. As they loaded the cars back onto the trailer, Jin put his hand on his daughter's shoulder. "You handled that well today. With Marcus. You were firm but fair. That is wisdom." Maya smiled tiredly. "I learned from the best, Dad." That night, as Maya drove home, she thought about the day, about the success of the show, about Vin's kindness, about Marcus's apology. She still did not fully trust Marcus, but she had seen something different in him today. Something that might be genuine change. Time would tell. She also thought about her mother, wishing she could have seen this day, wishing she could have seen how far the little shop had come. But Maya knew her mother was proud wherever she was. The work they did was not just about fixing cars. It was about dignity, about excellence, about treating every person and every vehicle with the respect they deserved. That was the legacy her parents had given her, and that was the legacy she would continue. 6 months had passed since the charity car show. The seasons had changed, and Los Angeles was now in the middle of a mild winter. Park Auto Repair had grown significantly. Maya had hired 3 full-time mechanics and moved to a larger facility down the street. The new shop was 3 times the size of the old one, with modern equipment but the same family atmosphere. Business was better than ever. The waiting list for restoration work was now 8 months long. Maya had been featured in car magazines, on television shows, and in podcasts. But despite the success and attention, she remained the same person. Humble, hard-working, focused on quality over profit. On a Tuesday morning, Maya was under a 1970 Chevelle when she heard a familiar voice. "Knock, knock. Is the boss available?" She rolled out from under the car to see Marcus Whitmore standing at the entrance. But he looked different from the man who had walked into her shop 6 months ago. He was wearing work boots, jeans with actual dirt on them, and a simple t-shirt. His hair was less styled. His face had more lines, but somehow looked more alive. "Marcus," Maya said, standing and wiping her hands. "I was not expecting you today. I know I should have called, but I was in the neighborhood and wanted to show you something." He pulled out his phone and showed her a photo of a classroom full of teenagers. "This is my vocational tech class at Eastside. We just finished building a computer lab from donated parts. The students did all the work themselves." Maya looked at the photo. The kids looked proud and engaged. That is great. How long have you been teaching there now? 6 months. 3 times a week. I also started a scholarship program for students who want to pursue skilled trades but cannot afford the training. We have funded 23 students so far. Maya nodded slowly. Over the past 6 months, she had heard reports about Marcus's activities, not from Marcus himself, but from other people in the vocational training community. He had kept his word. He had shown up consistently. He had put his money and time into making real change. Your charger has been running well? Maya asked. Perfectly. You did an incredible job. I have been driving it regularly and I finally understand what you meant about proper caretaking time. The transmission is smooth. The engine is powerful but controlled. It is a completely different car from what that other shop tried to fix. Good. That is what proper restoration should feel like. Marcus hesitated, then said, Maya, I have a question. And please feel free to say no. But I was wondering if you would be willing to speak at the vocational center. The students ask about you all the time. They saw the viral video. They saw you at the car show. You are like a hero to them, especially the young women who are interested in mechanics but worry they will not be taken seriously. Maya considered this. She did not love public speaking, but she understood the importance of representation. What would you want me to talk about? Your journey, how you became a mechanic, what it takes to run a business, how you handle disrespect and doubt. Real advice from someone who has actually done it. Okay, Maya said. I can do that. Let me check my schedule and we can set something up. Marcus smiled, and it was a genuine smile, not the arrogant smirk from 6 months ago. Thank you. This will mean a lot to the students. As Marcus was about to leave, Jin came out from the office. He had been watching the conversation. Marcus, he said in his careful English, you stay for lunch. Maya and I, we order food. You eat with us, we talk. Marcus looked surprised. I do not want to impose. Not imposing, inviting. You have been doing good work. We see this. Come sit. They ordered sandwiches from a nearby restaurant and sat in the small break room that Maya had set up in the new facility. For an hour they talked. Not about the viral video, not about the past, but about cars, about teaching, about the students Marcus was working with, about the challenges of running a business. Marcus asked Jin about his journey from Korea to America, about starting the auto shop with nothing but skill and determination. Jin shared stories about the early years, the struggles, the small victories. Marcus listened with real interest, asking thoughtful questions. Your generation, Jin said to Marcus, you think success means money and title. But real success, it means you sleep good at night. It means you're proud of your work. It means you treat people with respect and they respect you back. Money comes and goes. Character stays. Marcus nodded. I am learning that. It took me 46 years, but I am finally learning that. When Marcus left that afternoon, Maya and her father stood outside the shop, watching his Charger drive away with its perfectly tuned engine. That man has changed, Jin said. Not completely, but real change, it is happening. I think you are right, Maya agreed. He is trying. That is more than most people do. 3 weeks later, Maya spoke at the East Side Vocational Training Center. The classroom was packed with 50 students, most of them teenagers, many of them from low-income families. Marcus introduced her simply and then sat in the back, letting Maya have the spotlight. Maya talked for an hour. She explained how she fell in love with cars as a child watching her father work. She talked about going to MIT and facing sexism in her engineering classes. She talked about choosing to come back and work at her father's shop instead of taking high-paying corporate jobs. She talked about the viral video and what she learned from that experience, but mostly, she talked about the dignity of skilled work, about how fixing things, building things, creating with your hands was valuable and important, about how the world needed mechanics, electricians, welders, plumbers just as much as it needed doctors, lawyers, and engineers. Do not let anyone tell you that working with your hands is not real intelligence, Maya said. Do not let anyone make you feel less than because you chose a trade instead of a traditional college path. The person who can fix a car engine understands physics, chemistry, and engineering. The person who can build a house understands mathematics, design, and material science. Your skills are valuable. Your work is important. Be proud of it. The students gave her a standing ovation. Several came up afterward to ask questions and take photos. Young women especially wanted to talk to her, to hear that they could succeed in fields that were traditionally male-dominated. One girl, maybe 16 years old, waited until everyone else had left before approaching Maya. "I want to be a mechanic," she said quietly. "But my parents want me to be a doctor or lawyer. They say mechanics do not make enough money. They say people will not respect me." Maya looked at the girl and saw herself at that age. "What is your name?" "Sophia." "Sophia, here is what I learned. Respect is not about your job title or your income. Respect is about how you carry yourself, how you treat others, how you do your work. I make good money as a mechanic. Not billionaire money, but good money. More importantly, I love what I do. I wake up excited to go to work. Can your parents say that about their jobs?" Sophia thought about this. "No, my dad hates his job. He is an accountant, and he complains about it every day." Then maybe they are guiding you based on fear, not wisdom. There is nothing wrong with being a doctor or lawyer if that is your passion. But if your passion is mechanics, follow that. Life is too short to spend it doing work that makes you miserable just because it sounds impressive to other people. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, I needed to hear that." As Maya left the vocational center that evening, Marcus walked her to her truck. "That was powerful," he said. "You just changed some lives in there." "I hope so. Those kids deserve encouragement." "Maya," Marcus said, stopping beside her truck, "I need to say something. 6 months ago, when that video went viral, I was angry. I felt like a victim. But you were right about everything. I needed to change my actions, not just my words. These past 6 months teaching those kids, learning from people like you and your father, it has been the most meaningful period of my life. More meaningful than building my company. More meaningful than making my first billion. I found something I lost a long time ago. Purpose." Maya leaned against her truck. "I am glad you found that. But you know, change is not a 6-month project, right? This has to be who you are now, not just a phase. I know, and I am committed. I have actually been thinking about stepping back from my company, not leaving completely but reducing my role. I want to spend more time on education, on supporting skilled trades, on helping people find good jobs. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. It is time to use it for something that matters." Maya studied his face. The arrogance was gone. The entitlement was gone. What remained was something more genuine, more human. "You have come a long way," she said. "I had a long way to go, and I am not done. I still have work to do on myself. But I am trying. Every day I am trying." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Maya said, "I have to ask you something. That day at the shop when you treated me so badly, what were you really angry about? Because I do not think it was actually about your car." Marcus was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was raw. "I was angry because I had just come from my mother's house. She is sick, dementia. She did not recognize me that day. I spent an hour trying to explain who I was, and she just looked at me like I was a stranger. I felt helpless. And when I got to your shop and you told me I could not have my car when I wanted it, I took all that anger and fear and helplessness out on you. It was not about the transmission. It was about me feeling like I could not control anything, so I tried to control you." Maya felt a surge of empathy. "I am sorry about your mother. Thank you. It does not excuse what I did, but it explains it. And I have been working in therapy to understand why my default response to pain is to hurt other people, to use my power to make others feel small. That is not who I want to be anymore." "Then keep doing the work," Maya said. "Keep showing up. Keep treating people with respect. Keep supporting those students. That is how you become the person you want to be." Marcus nodded. "I will, thank you, Maya, for not giving up on me completely, for showing me what real character looks like." As Maya drove home that evening, she thought about the strange journey of the past 6 months, how a moment of disrespect had turned into a viral video, How that video had brought opportunities she never imagined. How it had also brought real change, not just in her life, but in Marcus's life. She thought about Vin Diesel, who had used his platform to support her and her father. She thought about the thousands of people who had defended her online. She thought about the students at the vocational center who now had hope that their skills and dreams were valid. But mostly, she thought about her father's wisdom. Character stays. Money comes and goes, but who you are as a person, that is what lasts. When Maya arrived home, her phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. "Hi Maya, this is Sophia from the vocational center. I talked to my parents tonight. I told them I want to be a mechanic. They were not happy at first, but I showed them your interview videos and the articles about your shop. They said they would think about it. Thank you for giving me courage. You changed my life today." Maya smiled and saved the message. This was why she did the work. Not for fame, not for money, but for moments like this. For young people who needed to see that there was more than one path to success, more than one way to live a meaningful life. The next morning, Maya was back in the shop covered in grease, working on a 1968 Firebird engine. Her father was in the office talking to a customer. The new mechanics she had hired were working on various projects. The radio played classic rock. The air smelled like motor oil and possibility. A car pulled up outside. It was Marcus's Charger running smoothly and beautifully, but Marcus was not there to ask for anything. He was dropping off gift certificates for the vocational students, scholarships he had personally funded. He handed them to Jin, chatted briefly about a carburetor issue in one of the shop cars, and left without fanfare. Jin watched him drive away, then came into the shop. "You know what is interesting about that man?" he said to Maya. 6 months ago, he comes here with noise in his car and noise in his soul. Now his car runs quiet. His soul, I think, is finding quiet too. That is real repair work, Maya laughed. "Dad, are you saying we fixed more than his transmission?" Jin smiled his wise smile. "Sometimes, daughter, the most important repairs happen in people's hearts, not in their cars. But someone has to show them it is possible. You showed him." He listened. "That is how the world gets better. One person at a time. One change at a time. One moment of respect at a time." Maya hugged her father, getting grease on his shirt. He did not mind. They stood together in their shop, surrounded by the work they loved, knowing they had built something more valuable than a successful business. They had built a legacy of dignity, integrity, and respect, and somewhere across Los Angeles, Marcus Whitmore was teaching a class of teenagers how to build websites, treating each student with patience and respect, remembering where he came from, and finally becoming the person his grandfather and father had hoped he would be. The viral video that had started everything was still online. Millions of people had watched it. But the real story was not in those 2 minutes of confrontation. The real story was in the 6 months of change that followed. In the lives touched. In the lessons learned. In the proof that people, when given the opportunity and the courage, can grow beyond their worst moments. That was the story Maya would remember. Not the humiliation, not the anger, but the possibility of redemption, the power of standing firm in your values, and the reminder that respect, once lost, can be earned back through consistent, genuine action. As Maya turned her attention back to the Firebird engine, she smiled. There was work to be done. Cars to fix, standards to maintain, a legacy to continue, and that, she thought, was exactly how it should be.